Hello there. I think, oh, I turned off the volume so I don't cause a feedback loop. How are you all doing this evening? Um, it is, I, of course, always end up having some kind of technical issue. Um, Hopefully this doesn't mess things up. Hold on. I'm a little overexposed here. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten up during a live stream before. Yeah, I think I'm going to end up having to adjust this camera, but I had a light and it was pointing right at me. Anyway, it never fails. The problem is, so I'm using an alt azimuth mount because it's a Seestar. It's not like polar aligned, so it has to figure out where things are when you turn it on. And because it was still twilight here, the sun set at about just over an hour ago. And so that's why I pushed this live stream back a bit. Because the problem was it's been too light otherwise. And even now there seems to be, let me switch to, you can see what is this it? Yeah. So I'm trying to, it says I'm connected to the Seestar, but it's been like, whoa. That's interesting. I'm seeing the same thing on my side. So let me close that and restart it. Okay. It says but see, it was slow coming up with this preview window. Okay. Okay, now it seems to be okay. But yeah, it was having some glitches. I was trying to have both of the Seestars running, but I ran into an issue. Like I had one connected to my phone and one connected to my laptop, but with that connection glitch, when I reset it, it's not paired with my laptop anymore, and I was having a hard time pairing it. Oh, hey. Unfortunately, I can't bring chat on there, but Damien K, hi. He has a he's in Australia, and he has a thanks for dropping in. I'm gonna try to fix the chat overlay, but for some reason it's having issues. Actually, what I can do is oh, did that fix it? Nope, didn't fix it. But what I can do is just pull let me hide this. Okay. Sorry. But yeah, it's Damien K. He has a he's an Australian. He has a very nice big Dobsonian telescope. Actually, a couple of them. Like a 24-inch is one of them, and takes some really awesome planetary photos and some other things too. You'll have to check out his channel if you haven't already. Anyway, where was I? Okay. So So yeah, since this is an alt azimuth mount, and I start the stream when it's like twilight, I was having a hard time getting it aligned. And if you have a Seestar, you can do kind of the compass calibration, but there was something still off about it. Now, usually once it's dark enough, it figures it out because it'll point to a target, realize it's pointing at the wrong area, and then it'll repoint. But one thing I was going to show off today that we will be, if I have to go downstairs and if I have to go downstairs and do something with the telescope, like repoint it, you'll be able to watch me do it because, let me see, let's try this. There we go. Yeah, so you can see in this, in the lower right here is an all sky camera I have that's pointing, let me bring it up full screen. That's pointing almost straight up, and it's kind of sitting below, to the side of the Seestar. And so you can really see the telescope as it moves around. And right now it was pointing at a target almost straight up. But you can see that, you can see that, sorry, I'm a little flustered because of not flustered, but a little frustrated, with the fact some things weren't working today. But anyway, you can see in the upper right corner is actually a thermal image. It's a long story, but anyway, the all-sky camera supports this particular sensor, and I just happen to have the sensor laying around, and so it's mounted right next to the camera. It's a Raspberry Pi HQ camera. Nothing like some people run all-sky cameras on like ZWO cameras, but I'm just using a Raspberry Pi HQ camera, and I have the thermal sensor right next to it, and so you can see the hot spot in the lower right is the telescope. Now, one thing that's interesting about the thermal camera, it's a very low resolution. You can probably tell it's a bit blocky, but one thing that's kind of interesting is when clouds go across the field of view. You can see it visually because of the light pollution here is so bad, but they actually look different thermally, like they're warmer than the sky. So that's kind of cool. You can kind of, you know, when you see something and you're like, is that actually a cloud? The thermal camera will show that it is. Anyway, one day I'll do a video about that. But in the meantime, let me see. I was going to see if anybody had any, oh, okay. Yeah, so let me try to see if I can pop out this chat, because it's really kind of going to frustrate me if I can't bring up these chats on screen. Actually, that might work. Sorry. It always never fails. There we go. Okay, move it. Okay. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to get this on screen without, putting sensitive URLs or something on screen. But here we go. So this is my computer screen. I kind of dragged the chat off. So yeah, Damien K said, Damien K said astrophotography. I'll drop by in a bit and say good day. And then clouds tonight. Yeah, we've had a lot of clouds here. And I'm going to get up from my desk one more time. I have a feeling this is going to be a recurring thing tonight. Let me switch to something. Sorry. I'm trying to switch to something that's more yeah, anyway, I'll be right back. I'm gonna I have a feeling this is going to be one of those streams. Anyway, yeah, okay. That was going to bug me that the camera was a little low. Like I say, I had spent so much time, unfortunately, on trying to get the telescope working. So let me go. I may have to start pushing it back till 9:30 or even 10 o'clock local time, which would be like 11 Eastern. Let's see. There we go. All right, so let's go. Yeah, so we've been having a lot of cloudy weather recently, or even worse, the most frustrating thing was it would be clear during the day and the afternoon, like an hour before sunset. Sometimes it was still clear, and then clouds would start rolling in, and then or they'd roll in about an hour after sunset, so I'd get like a few minutes of imaging, just enough to like it would look like I could actually take the telescope out, and then it would kind of deteriorate, and that was very frustrating. But we had some kind of front come through, and it cleared it out, and it's going to be pretty clear for a few days, which is great. So let's see. This is going to really frustrate me, but anyway, we'll make do. Okay, so let me try to bring up something. Now, I had been trying to point at M3, but the problem is right here. Yeah, see, look, it's at 83 degrees, and the Seestar has a problem close to the zenith, like around 85 degrees, so I'm not even going to try pointing at that. But I could try M13, so I'm just going to give that a go. And if this still has a problem with the alignment, okay. Yeah, let me look at where I am on the stream. But Torrin said couldn't see the screen, but now can see it. Anyway, so the problem, yeah, so if I have a problem with this still being able to pick up a target, I might have to go downstairs. In which case, you'll be able to watch me, like I say, on this other camera. I have this. This is. You'll be able to see me on this all-sky camera in the lower right corner. But in the meantime, we'll go back to this. It was very frustrating. But again, it's because I try to, like sometimes the Seestar will lock onto a target pretty well. And sometimes I've had it where I'll have leveling issues because The problem is my backyard is a little, we've got kind of pavers there, so it's kind of an irregular surface. So depending on where I put the telescope down, it, one leg might be a little higher than another sometimes, and then not other times. Anyway, but then sometimes it gets in kind of this unable to acquire a target kind of loop. Let's actually see if we can bring up. Actually, let me bring up this view. We can see it's changed directions. That orange cable you see kind of coming out of the telescope and down. Like I say, the all-sky camera is almost looking straight up, but the that orange cable is a power cable I have, so I can keep it plugged in all night without without draining the battery. See, this was the issue I had earlier. Oh, and you might also see kind of a protrusion. It's the telescope itself's pointing to the upper left, and I have a dew shield on that I bought off Etsy, I think. It's a 3D printed one, and I mainly got it for light pollution, to try to shield against light hitting the front of the lens kind of from an angle and kind of making, at least that's the theory. But it's very strange because it's kind of in this loop where it claims it's identifying the target, and then it says it failed now 6 times. Yeah, let's see. It's very frustrating. Oh, did it actually acquire it? Or did it just give up? Well, let's see. Let's look. Yep, there it is. So that's M13. Great. It finally acquired it. So I'm going to do something a little different here, and I'll explain in a bit. But if we go look at M13, if we look at I forgot I have to do, okay. If we look at M13 in Stellarium, this is approximately where it's pointing right now. But I want to actually, now if you turn on deep sky objects, I actually want to kind of move the field to the side where the globular cluster is to the side. And then these two NGC objects, actually this is an IC object, I think. Yeah, IC 4617 and NGC 6207. I want those actually in the field of view, because if M13 is centered, that NGC 6207 is out of the frame. And I'll explain in a moment what my motivation is for that. So let's go back to this one. All right, so I'm going to adjust it slightly to the side. Now, the problem is because this is going through my Wi-Fi, my home Wi-Fi, there's it's a little extra laggy, so I have to be very careful not to cause it to shoot off the side of the frame. Okay. I think that might be about where I want it to be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll try this. All right. Yeah. So the reason, my motivation for this is it's kind of, if you watched my normal live stream last weekend, or last Friday, was it Friday? I've kind of been on this kick about trying to see how far of a thing I can image. And one of the reasons why, well, so on M13, it's actually, this would be something that other people might want to mess around with, so I'll explain what I'm doing here. But M13 is, if we go look up M13, yeah, slow is good. Yeah, because if you don't, it just ends up kind of shooting off to the side. So let's look up M13. Messier. Okay, so Messier 13 is 22,000 light years away. Cool. Well, what I'm kind of obsessed with, not obsessed with, but it started with that supernova photo I had taken like a few months ago, where it was a supernova in a NGC 4216, I think, and I saw this little speck that was in the field, and I realized it was it took some research to hunt it down, but it was it was a background galaxy that was almost 1 billion light years. It was like 900 million light years away, or further than NGC 4216. And so that kind of got me on this path of trying to not only image kind of the more traditional targets, but also see how far of an object I can capture with the Seestar in the city, Bortle 9. And now I kind of cheat by, basically I go after quasars, and quasars are intrinsically super bright. And I showed one on the live stream last week that was like 8 billion light years away. Yes, 8 point something billion light years. And I haven't turned off satellites. If you saw something kind of zip through the corner of the frame on Stellarium, that was a satellite. Anyway, so I go after these quasars and some, more distant galaxies kind of explicitly, but then I started realizing, well, not realizing, but I kind of noticed some that are, and not necessarily quasars, but like in the case of this, this star cluster is, NGC, M13 is 22,000 light years away. NGC 42, or 6207 is 64 million light years away. But this IC 4617 is 500 million light years away. And it's actually within reach of the Seestar where I am. So I was kind of wanting to get this photo of M13, but then in the same field, something that's tens of millions and hundreds of millions of light years away. So that's kind of cool. Or that's kind of what my motivation. That's why I kind of have moved the I've moved the globular cluster off center. So you can see right here, like this kind of, I have it right in the middle of the frame. It's kind of, it's still kind of, it's only gotten a minute of data, but you see this kind of little fuzzy oblong thing. That's that NGC 6207, and that's fairly easy to resolve. But that IC one is somewhere, it's one of these dots, I think. These really faint dots. I don't know if it'll come through on YouTube, but that's why we're going to expose it for a little longer. But yeah, so that's kind of my motivation for this particular target. Now, the reason I wanted, so that 8 billion light year away quasar wasn't the farthest quasar I've imaged with my Seestar. I'm going to leave that one for another video, but then I found the reason I wanted the second Seestar to work tonight was I realized I can't see to the west from my backyard, and I really don't have a front yard to speak of. But I realized, and I've done this before with the sun, I realized from the second floor, I have a good view towards the west, out the window. And the Seestar, you wouldn't want to do it with a big telescope, but the Seestar is small enough, and it's probably not that much vibration to have it on the second floor. But I realized I had a view towards the west, and there was a specific target, a couple of targets I wanted to go after that are visible right at the end of twilight from my backyard. I mean, from that window. But I might do it again over the weekend. I might try again over the weekend. But the other one I was going to look at was, the reason I wanted to look at M3 is I'll show you what I've started getting data on that. Okay. So and the problem is right now M3, since it's near the zenith, it's going to start going through a lot of field rotation here soon. You can see, if I move the time, if I move the time forward, you can see it's starting, like just a few minutes from now, it's like the field is drastically rotating, or dramatically rotating. But in M3's field of view, so you've got this galaxy, NGC 5263, which I've captured I've captured enough data of M3 where you can see the galaxy there. And it's small because it's 226 million light years away. But what's really cool is, and I have some settings turned on in Stellarium that are not necessarily stock settings. See this little plus sign here? If I click on that, that is a quasar. And you see it says redshift 2.517. So let's let me pull this off screen so I'm not like fumbling around looking for it. But I need to put this in a better spot on my website. But okay, here we go. It's observational resources, cosmology calculators. Let me move it to here, and then there we go. Okay. All right. I didn't want to bore you with the fumbling around here. So cosmology calculators. And remember, this is 2.517 is the redshift. And this is a quasar, and it's 17th magnitude. So I haven't captured it yet. And it's it might be pushing it at my location, or it might not even be possible. But 2.517 is 11 billion light years away. So I want to try to capture it, because I think it's kind of interesting that you have this photo of, that you could have this photo of M3, which a lot of people are familiar with, but then you have like this galaxy up here, which is a couple 100 million light years away, and then next to it a little faint smudge that's like 11 billion light years away, which is like 90, not quite 90%. Like the universe was only, wait, the universe was a couple billion years, 2.5 billion years old when it emitted that light that I would be capturing. Anyway, so that's a project that I want to get a lot more data for M3, and I might have to go to a dark sky to really capture this quasar. But let's go back to M13, and so you can definitely see that. Well, I can turn on marking. You can see the NGC 6207 is you can see the oblong kind of shape, but it doesn't mark. The Seestar catalog doesn't have a lot of objects in it, or if it does, it doesn't necessarily mark them when you pick that option. Yeah, it's oops. I'm like trying to switch screens here. Okay. So Torn, really young. Are you talking about that quasar as far as the 11 billion light year one? Because yeah, the universe was a lot younger when that was emitted, but that's still not. Yeah, there's another target that I'm going to go after. That's actually brighter than this M3 one, and I might do it during another live stream if I'm confident that I can actually align the Seestar. If I can align the Seestar out the window just after twilight, because the problem is this specific target I want to image is going to be very. It's far enough out above the horizon at twilight, but it rapidly kind of gets lower. Yes, okay, Tom. Yeah, Torn. Yeah, about the. Yeah, that it's crazy, but like I say, I found there's another one I'm going to go after that's even farther away. And I have actually imaged. I'll go ahead and say it. There is one that I've imaged that I haven't shown on a stream yet. That was over 10 billion light years away, and I was able to capture that with the Seestar. Now it helped that was like 15th magnitude and change, which is definitely within reach of the Seestar if you take a long enough exposure. And even then, it's like you can pick it up in very few minutes, but it's kind of like very grainy, kind of like this right here, where, I mean, this NGC 62 07. What's the magnitude of that one? That is, yeah, 11.5, not quite 12th magnitude. So it's not like it's 15th magnitude like that quasar, but even now, like after 7.5 minutes, it's still kind of, you know, there's a lot more that it will acquire. And the other one that I see, what is the one I see? You see, we all see. It's a radio galaxy, or it's an active galaxy. I see 4617. That one is. What is that one? That one is. Actually 12.5 magnitude, so that's actually not too bad. I like this. Let me switch to the let me switch to the, sorry. Like I say, it's really frustrating that my normal chat overlay is broken, and I don't know if it's because I use kind of a I don't want to say overly complicated, but kind of an unusual setup for streaming. And so anyway, I'm not going to go into the specifics, but I have a plugin that, or an extension in Chrome that kind of can bring those chats on stream. And the problem is I updated my browser, and I think Google had an update, or YouTube had an update, because the plugin is behaving differently, and the live chat isn't working at all. So, but Torn said, yeah, put a flat board to hang straight out the window. That's actually an interesting idea. I need to think about that. Actually, I have some wood from a what do you call it? Like a built-in. I took apart up here on the second floor, and I still have the wood here on the floor. I actually could attach the Seestar to the wood and get it out the window, at least a little bit, because then I'd get the way my house is and where this window is. I wouldn't have to get it far out the window, and I'd be able to capture basically half the sky, the western facing sky, which I typically can't see. So I like that. I like that idea. I might have to do that. And yeah, it boggles the mind that 10 billion light years. Like I say, it's kind of become an obsession of mine. This kind of quest for ever farther things. Yeah. So it's captured about 9, almost 10 minutes of M13. I'm going to let it go for a little bit longer. I'm going to let it go for a little bit longer because I have a couple other things I want to try. Yeah, actually, let me look up this one thing I think I figured that I wouldn't be able to look it up. I wouldn't be able to look at it. 3C273. So where is this? Oh yeah. Yeah, the problem is it's already past the meridian. I could probably do it. I could probably have imaged this. Well, if I get the board going, and actually that might help with some of the calibration issues too, because I usually shut off the horizontal calibration in my backyard on the Seestar, where the first time you point it at a target, it'll try to look at a couple other points, so it can correct its alignment better. And I usually have to turn it off because of the buildings in my backyard, or the buildings around me. But if I shoot out the window, I would be able to actually probably leave that on, and I would be able to horizontally align, which would be great. But this 3C273, that's actually another quasar. That one was discovered in the 1960s, and it is it's a pretty okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Torn. But the NGC, what was it? 3C273. So this is, if you look, yeah, see, look, it's 12th magnitude, 12.9, and it's 2.4 billion light years away, which is why I wanted to try to image that tonight, because it's an easy target. It shows up pretty quickly, and it's probably one of the most distant, easily even visible through a telescope of not that large of a telescope. It all goes back to many years ago. There was an ad for Celestron, I remember, in like Astronomy magazine or Sky and Telescope back when, you know, people got magazines. I had a subscription to both, so I forget which one it was. But it was an ad for Celestron, and they were talking about all the things you could see with a CA telescope. And one of them was like, you can see a quasar. And so that kind of, when I saw that one galaxy that was like 900 million light years away, it kind of triggered this old memory of like, oh yeah, that quasar, how far away is that? And it's this 3C273, which is yeah, 2.5 billion light years away. And it's a very easy target. The challenge with the Seestar is is actually being able to point at it, because it's not in the catalog. But what I did is, see, there's this NGC 4420, and I think what I ended up doing is I pointed it at NGC 4420, and see, unfortunately the quasar is right out of the field of view, and I just kind of, you know, moved it to the side until like these stars were in the field of view. And once they were in, I was able to image it pretty easily. Unfortunately, I think that image is on something that I can't easily get to. Actually, maybe I can get to it easily. Let me check this. It might actually be in my on my phone. Okay, here's NGC 4409. Yeah, I even marked it up. What do you know? Let me share this. Let me move to the picture-in-picture. Oops, wrong picture-in-picture. So you can see I took, so it ended up, you can see at the top it says unknown. It didn't know what the object was, but this was a screen capture after only 4 minutes. And my little janky arrows are pointing at that star, that the second star on the left. That's 3C273. That's the thing that's 2.5 billion light years away. So with a 4-minute exposure, this was, when was this? This was on Sunday. It was really humid. I was dealing with clouds kind of going through, going by in the sky. So at this point I had 4 minutes of exposure, and I was able to, you can clearly see the star. I mean, you don't see anything besides that, because the galaxy that the quasar is in is so small and distant, you wouldn't be able to image it, but you can image the quasar. I mean, the quasar itself is, it's basically an active galactic nucleus. It's basically like a supermassive black hole that matter is falling into, like a lot of matter, like, you know, millions of stars worth of gas and stuff are falling into this black hole. And so these things are emitting, they're some of the brightest things in the universe. They're emitting tons of light, like hundreds of billions of times brighter than the sun. And what can make them even brighter is, let me see if I can pull this up, pull up an image of it, or a rendering of what a quasar looks like. Yeah, this is kind of cool. So you can see, like, basically you've got this central black hole, and like matter is spiraling in, and what happens, so it ends up heating up. Why is this image taking so long to load? Anyway, yeah, so yeah, you can see, so the matter falls in, it heats up tremendously, and it's emitting all this energy, and this beam here is because like the energy can't go out where the disk is. It ends up escaping kind of, through perpendicular to the disk. So it's like out, the kind of an axis, and these beams are of energy are going out sometimes at a good fraction of the speed of light. And yeah, they're emitting, electromagnetic radiation across the entire spectrum. So like visible, ultraviolet, infrared, X-ray, gamma ray. They're like they're incredibly bright because they're extremely energetic objects. And those quasars that are particularly far away that can be imaged with even the Seestar. So like the ones that are like 10 billion light years away. I think one of the reasons we can see some of those from Earth and they're not quite so dim, I mean, considering their distance, it's because this beam is actually kind of pointing roughly towards Earth. So we're seeing like this highly energetic beam pointing towards us, which that's the brightest part of the quasar. And the other thing that's interesting is because there's like magnetic fields and stuff in the galaxy around it, that beam might kind of get distorted, kind of like solar stuff, but on like solar flares and stuff, but on a much more massive scale, like orders of like billions of times more energy. And those magnetic fields can cause this energy to kind of fluctuate the beam a little bit. And that's what actually makes these things variable. Like they might vary a fraction of a magnitude, which is, I mean, for something that if it's say 100 billion times as bright as the sun, for it to vary even, a little bit, that means it's varying by, like billions of suns worth of energy in a short period of time. But it's really because the beam is kind of oscillating and it might kind of, not be quite towards us, and then so it'll get a little dimmer and then it'll kind of oscillate back. But yeah, it's interesting. This, that you can, I find it interesting that you can kind of capture these things with such a small device. Okay, so let's go back to our capture. So we're up to 17 minutes. Oh, it's a little further than I expected, but that's good. So you can really see, this NGC is starting to get better. Basically, I've already taken photos kind of this approximate angle, but I'm just trying to get more data so I can process it all together and really kind of bring out that IC, whatever that one was. Sometimes I don't remember the IC 4617. Anyway, so what else was I going to look at? Does anybody have any other suggestions? If not, I have some things I'm going to image next. And I was actually thinking of, so tomorrow, Friday, it's varied between Fridays and Saturdays. I usually have a live stream on Friday, and I usually have sorry, I'm like just checking the chat. I usually have a live stream on either Friday or Saturday, and I had been kind of targeting Friday evening. I might, and the last time I did it, I think was at 7 p.m. I'm thinking of pushing it back. I haven't decided yet. I don't know, maybe I'll do a live stream and then have a second kind of observing stream, because it's supposed to be clear tomorrow night too, and I don't want to miss that opportunity. Plus, maybe it'll give me some time to try to, it might give me some time to try to rig up something with the one Seestar out the window. Because if I can start getting some stuff to the west, the other thing that'll be neat tomorrow, it might be not enough, but tomorrow, let me see. Oops, the right window. Oops. Oh, F5. Oh, that's why. For some reason, Stellarium doesn't like, at least on my Mac, doesn't seem to like having its size changed. But like at 9:30 tomorrow, oh, it'll be below the horizon. Yeah, I was thinking if I have a good view out the west, like during twilight, I could actually potentially get a really thin crescent moon, which would be cool. So part of me wants to do it earlier. It's funny that Stellarium's having it go through trees, even though there's no trees that way. It's just their foreground artwork. But yeah, right around sunset, it's going to be kind of low, so I might not be able to capture it. But if I could, that would be kind of cool. But that's what I'm kind of. Oh yeah. Oops. Yeah, satellites in view. I usually end up turning those off in Stellarium because it's basically the keyboard sequence is Command Z, and there's also a way you can do it from a menu option. But actually, I'm gonna just. That's not my view. That would be a nice view to have, but not my view. So if I turn on, do I turn on satellites? I don't see any. But basically, you'll be looking at something and you'll start seeing these things moving around. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, it's annoying when you're not wanting satellites. Yeah. So, yeah. Torn said I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, there's a lot of settings in here. At least in the desktop version. I just pinned the these toolbars, but what I ended up, like, I've turned on some, like I said, some non-standard things, but looking at the help, you can, there's a lot of stuff where you can kind of go backward and forward in time. You can turn on asterism labels. So, actually, the one that's good, you can turn on constellation boundaries, and you can actually that's not as interesting as constellation. Yeah, V and R. You can turn on, is it V? Oh yeah. So you can turn on the constellation labels and the art and artwork. So it's got like a lot of features. You can turn on and off like everything. Like I have the grid turned on here. The the alt azimuth grid. So I just shut it off. But that way I know like kind of how high up in the sky I can kind of look at the grid. If I don't have a specific object selected. But but it has, yeah, like it has, you can turn on and off the Milky Way, night mode, planet labels, planet orbits. Yeah, and so like exoplanets, shortcuts to specific fields of view. You can turn on and off meteor showers. The oculars, I have quasars, so that's why I'm able to pull up quasars. Artificial satellites, Command Z. So if I go Command Z, and then, did that do anything? It doesn't help if you're not looking somewhere where there might be a satellite. Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at that. Oh, because I have time stopped. That's why I paused time. But if I just continue it going, you can see all these satellites, all these Starlink satellites moving around. I turned on satellite labels just so you can, without picking one, you can see what they all are. And they're too dim at this view, so if I zoom in, you can see them moving. All these Starlinks. So many Starlinks. Yeah, so I end up turning off satellites because otherwise there's just so much clutter. Especially if you're like zoomed in a bit. I mean, like, look at that. That's crazy. But there's other non-Starlink. There's Iridium here. Global Star. Some Global Star satellites. Yeah, but yeah, Stellarium has so much. And if you go in, like I say, I've wanted to do kind of a video just about the settings I have turned on, but like you can go in configuration. And again, this is in the desktop version. It should be the same in Windows as well. It's got plugins, and it's like it has a lot of things that may not be turned on by default that you can turn on. Like I think quasars weren't turned on by default or something. I don't remember, but I load them up. And like satellites, yeah, and you can specify how often it pulls the information, because like satellite orbits vary, so it might not be like you want to make sure it's refreshing the data. And it has the same thing about like meteor showers, and there was some other stuff in here. But yeah, pulsars, that would be an interesting thing. I should try that. Actually, I'm going to turn that on. So that I haven't actually thought about trying to see if I can find a pulsar, because that would be cool. So let's go out of this, and I am going to turn off satellite labels. And actually, let me. And see, I can turn off. Oops, wait. Okay, and there. No more satellites. Because I mean, it's just kind of clutter, and it's distracting, especially if you're like moving time for, kind of seeing what things are going to look like in an hour or two or in a day or two. So, yeah, let me, like I say, this is really bugging me that I can't, that I cannot bring up the chat. Yeah, yeah, so like there's and with Stellarium you can also kind of look at, I believe it has a mode where you can look at the view from other perspectives, like from Mars or something. And the thing about kind of those constellation kind of artwork. It has Stellarium has other cultures, I think, in it too. So if you want to look at like what I'm just making up an example, like maybe what the ancient Norse thought the stars were, you know, or what their constellations were. It has different, and like different stars go by different names depending on, you know, if it was the ancient Arab astronomers, ancient Chinese astronomers. I don't know if it has all that information in there, but it does have some of the historic or different cultural things in it. It has a lot. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really neat. I like Stellarium. And one thing I had thought about doing tomorrow is let me go check on the phone. One thing I thought about doing tomorrow is maybe it depends on if I do a live stream and then like an observing live stream, or if I do it as one thing. One thought I had is I start the live stream and maybe that live stream is actually like not quite a planning live stream, but kind of figuring out some things we might want to look at, or I might want to image in Stellarium, because like it has this mode where you can and I don't get me wrong, I'm by no means an expert in Stellarium, but it's got like these astronomical calculations, and so you can see, you know, like I was looking for possible quasars here up to magnitude 17th, and so yeah, you can so you can yeah, and it lets you, you know, figure out, you know, what's visible currently. And it has other things here too, like Messier catalog, so we can see what Messier objects are visible now. And yeah, so that's one thought I had, is kind of starting doing kind of the live stream like this, and then kind of getting right to the observing later or afterwards. Now, because of the alignment issues I have, that kind of makes me want to break it into two pieces, where I do the initial live stream and then maybe an hour or two later doing a live observing stream. And I'm kind of, I haven't had this issue yet where I've had where I have had a number of clear days, but part of me, if I had a stretch of a number of clear days, I've thought about doing several live observing streams, but I don't necessarily want to clutter all of my YouTube channel with live observing streams. So I thought about making some of them unpublished, maybe members only, or like if you're on the mailing list, you get it. Or maybe I put it in a community post so that way people can join it, but then it's not like going out to everybody. I don't know. I mean, I don't want people getting feel like they're getting spammed, but then again, YouTube's pretty smart sometimes. It might be okay with it, where if you tuned into the live streams, it'll recommend them to you, and if you didn't, it won't. So we'll see. But I haven't had that issue yet, because the weather's been so lousy here. But yeah, it's I think I'm going to stop it at half an hour and then go to the next target. I'm going to take a drink of water. Of course, wanted to look something up first. Yeah, actually. Oh, okay. That's not bad. Okay. I think the next thing I might image just for a brief bit is the Blaze Star. As far as I know, that T Coronae Borealis, as far as I know, it hasn't exploded yet, but I want to, I think I would have heard about it, but I want to go ahead and image it again tonight. Just because I think the question came up on a live stream, and then I did a video about how to find it in the Seestar catalog, but I think I'm going to demo it, and plus I want to take another photo of it with reasonably clear skies. Let me drink some water here. The other thing, the reason why I'm sitting here and not like observing outside or sitting next to the telescope outside, which I've thought about doing, but there's two problems. One, we have a lot of mosquitoes here, and the other problem is it was like 90 still, 90 Fahrenheit. It's down to only 85, but the heat index is probably over 90, and that's part of the reason why my throat's dry, because it's been so hot. Let me switch. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the lives, I like the live observing, and it's nice. You know, I definitely join other people's live observing streams too. Especially when it's cloudy here. It's nice watching at least kind of a, you know, imaging some things, and it's nice. Kind of get your fix in. I'm going to drink some more. Yeah. So I'm past that half-hour mark. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. Actually, before I hit stop, yeah, so Torn asks, will haze, humidity cause bad focus? It's not focus per se, but like today isn't particularly humid. But definitely like earlier in the week it was more humid, and so there's seeing, and there's transparency, and there's cloudiness as far as parameters as how well you can see the sky and photograph it. The transparency is kind of how hazy it is, and the seeing is how much turbulence there is in the atmosphere, like when the stars are twinkling a lot more vigorously than usual, for example. So you can have really clear skies, so you could have good transparency but bad seeing, or you could have good transparency, bad seeing, bad transparency, good seeing, both good, both bad. And what happened a few days ago, transparency was bad. It was hazy, humid, and the seeing wasn't good either, because it was very like there was a lot of turbulence in the atmosphere. Now, sometimes when it's hazy, so when the transparency might be bad, sometimes the seeing is good. Like like when the air is kind of heavy and stable and but humid. So it ends up like some things end up better to image when the seeing is good. But for the most part, I mean, I have to make do with what I've got here. And basically I've resigned myself that the transparency is usually going to be bad here, because of pollution and humidity. Because like the quasar photo I got, that was like 7.8 billion light years away, or 8 billion light years away. That one, that was on a night, because I remember it very specifically. Like, we'd had a bunch of rain and a front came through. Like, this was back in late April, early May. And the air was like transparency and seeing were both like very good. Like what I go to is astrospheric, and you can see, like right now it says, transparency is actually above average, but the seeing is just average. So that means it's because we had a front come through, it's drier, it's not hazy, it's not humid. But unfortunately there's still mosquitoes around. And then like later this evening, or actually in the morning, the seeing's going to be excellent. So that can be good if you're taking, I mean, this is after the sun rises, but if you're taking photos of the sun, I mean, here tomorrow morning, it should be better because it won't be as kind of turbulent. So I probably am going to take some solar photos in the morning. But like I say, I mean, you can see this is the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm not that far from the Gulf of Mexico. So humidity is just kind of something you have to deal with here. There's no escaping it. So let's get back to this. 35 minutes. This is good. Yeah. I mean, this is a small telescope. So, so I'm going to stop this. And I am going to next move on to, actually, I am going to move on to, what did I say? I was going to go to the Blaze Star. And I have to aim for, I'm going to go to, because the Blaze Star isn't in here, you look for IC 4587. And that is well situated. And before I go to that, I want to switch. Sorry. I want to switch views here. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's go like that. There we go. So we can get all fancy. So I'm going to have it change position. Now, the problem, this isn't like a real-time video, it's a series of photos, and it makes a time lapse at the end of the night, but it makes a daily time lapse, but so you have to, did it move? I think it moved. Yeah, it moved. It wasn't that far of a move, so so let's start. Let me see where, double check that it's pointing the right place. Okay, yeah. So it's right next to IC 4587, which means the Blaze Star is going to be like slightly to the upper right. So let's go ahead and start imaging that. But yeah, if you can see that, like, this is the frame, the field of view, and I have it centered on IC 4587. Just rolls off the tongue there. But that, the brighter star that's going to be to the upper right of it, is the blaze star, and I see it already. The blaze star. Yeah. So let me switch back. It's a pretty. It's not that faint of a star. You know, like within a minute or within a few seconds, you can get an image of it. But when it goes nova, it's going to be much, much brighter. And that's what we want to kind of be on the lookout for. But you can see, like, I see, you can't even, like, there's maybe a smudge there. But this star right here, this one, that's T Coronae Borealis, the blaze star. So as you can see, I'm going to let it only go for a minute because I mean, you can clearly see it. And if you notice, it's about the same brightness as this star here. So you can, like, that's what you would expect. Like, when it's in its current, non-nova state, it would be about like these two, like this one and this one are going to be about the same brightness. Oh, while I was talking, I'm already up to 1.5 minutes. So let me stop it. So it hasn't gone nova yet. We're on nova watch here. Oops. Okay. All right. So, what next? Let me look at my list. I had come up with a list of a few targets. Unfortunately, some of these are like to the west, or they're much later in the evening. Like, there's some nice nebulas, but those are still after midnight. Like if we go, like the Eagle, Eagle Nebula, like that is a nice target. But yeah. Oh wait. I think I confused it. Oh no. Oh, so it should be. Sorry, Oh, so it's only 18 degrees above the horizon. To my southeast. Actually, if I go till like close to midnight, like for another hour or more, like I usually do, I might be able to start imaging that before I end it. Let me look up the Crescent. Sometimes Stellarium on my Mac ends up in a weird state. Yeah, this is to, is this to the east? Oh, it's to the northeast. Yeah, again, that might be something to try in about an hour. Let's see, what else? What else is there? I mean, there's a lot, but actually what we can do is we can, we can actually, Sorry, I'm just trying to work out some things. Anyway, so let's try this out. Let's actually look at Stellarium. So one thing I do, because my sky is so cluttered, in Stellarium you can put custom kind of foregrounds, and one thing some people do is they take kind of a panoramic photo of their backyard and they put it into Stellarium so they can tell, you know, what stuff is going to be visible, like what's behind a tree, what's going to be behind a building. And I've been meaning to do that, because otherwise it's kind of a guessing game. Oops, didn't mean to do E. So actually, let me turn off that. So the rose cluster should be visible, well visible, which gumball M12. It's definitely a lot of globular clusters. A lot of globular clusters visible. This is M13, which I already looked at. That one's 5.8, 6.5. Yeah, maybe. Now the problem is this blue horse nebula is not visible. I think it's already blocked by a building, because I've tried to take a photo of it and just haven't been able to. Actually, let me look in here and see if there's any galaxies we can look for. What's that? Turtle Nebula. Yeah, let's try that. I don't know. Turtle Nebula, NGC 6215. Actually, one thing I can do to see if it's worth looking at is turn on the field of view, and then I like turning on this catalog. Oh, that's small. That's really small. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to bother with that. You see how small that is in the frame? Although here's some galaxies. Oh, those are 15th magnitude and 15th magnitude. Does it say how far away they are? It has their redshift. I don't remember that redshift. I mean, I don't have that off the top of my head. Actually, I can look that up. 0.036. I just happen to have my handy dandy cosmology calculator, as one tends to have. 0.0316 was it? 400 million light years away. Child's play. Let's see. Let's see. Is there? What's this? Yeah. The problem is a lot of galaxies are not that big. Like the Seestar, there's some things that are too big for this, too wide of an object, too big of an object to image with the Seestar, but then there's other things that are just too small, like a lot of these galaxies. And there's a quasar, redshift 0.3. Like a lot of these are fairly distant, not super bright, fairly small things. Yeah, so what's this little clump of galaxies? Are they all fairly far? Yeah, there's one thing that I want if I can get, there's a couple of clusters, galaxy clusters to the west that I can't photograph from my backyard, but if I can rig up this contraption to photograph out my window, I might be able to do it. Yeah, these are all they're all fairly small. Wow, there's a lot. There's a lot of galaxies in this field. Like, look at this. It's, like, look at that. And some of them aren't even labeled. Like, there's a ton of galaxies in this field. I wonder if I should try that. How high is it in the sky? Yeah, NGC 6053. Or 6044. I don't even know which cluster that is. There's a lot. I'll just point at it while I look for more things. So let's go NGC C6044. And let me switch. Oh, I need to. So I'm going to go to NGC 6044 and go gazing. So hopefully we'll see the telescope move. The image only updates like every 10-15 seconds. I'm thinking of the problem is, oh yeah, you can tell it moved. The problem is the software I'm using, it ends up taking like these multi-second exposures, and it creates a time lapse from them. So I can't, because it's got the camera kind of locked. I can't. Sorry, I have to turn off this night shift mode on my computer. Okay. Anyway, so the what was I getting at? Anyway, let me try running this exposure. Oh, so what I want is to actually have video as the camera is moving, but the problem is the software is using the camera and I can't also pull a video from it. So I have another little camera. So I might add a second camera to that. So I'll have two cameras and a thermal camera on my all sky camera, but they're like fairly cheap. I mean, the HQ camera was like $50, the Raspberry Pi camera, but then some of the other cameras were like $20. So so that is a great question. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't end the live stream. This will be going for a while. Is that the Virgo cluster? I don't think so. Like, what? I can turn on, which one was it? The constellations. Constellation art. And you can turn on and off some of those things from the from that toolbar. So that is between Serpens and Hercules. Yeah, so there's like several. I guess it's a direction kind of out of the plane of the Milky Way, and there's a few different things around Hercules that are pretty distant. Like that M13, which had that multi-billion light year quasar in it, is there. Where is Virgo? I used to be so much better. Like years ago when I first started astronomy, I need to switch to my computer. Let me go back to where I was. What target were we looking at? It was NGC 6044. So see, it's between Serpens and Hercules, and this is where M13 is. And anyway, what I was saying is I used to be so much better at kind of the constellations, because when I started astronomy many years ago, like astrophotography you do with film, and to do it, like to really do it well, you almost had to develop the film yourself, and that was like beyond what I wanted to do or was kind of capable of. Oh, Virgo is west of Serpens. Yeah, okay, it's right here. So what we're looking at, or that cluster I was looking at, is over here, and here's Virgo. There was also an interesting, again, this goes back to me needing to image to the west. There was a cluster, and the Black Eye Galaxy, that would be cool. Oh, you're imaging Markarian. See, I had such a bad stretch of luck. Are you using, what telescope are you using? Wile sight? Because I was doing it with the Seestar, and okay, with the Seestar. See, I was doing it with the Seestar, but when it was visible from my backyard, again, I can only see almost up and a little bit to the south, but it basically, I had very few opportunities, and most of the time I had opportunities, it was like the moon was interfering with it, and combined with the haze, it was having a hard time tracking, because like it couldn't lock onto enough stars in the field. And so I just kind of, I gave up on it, because I had such a bad stretch of like attempting, and I'd get bits of it, like some exposure, but not nearly enough. And, but if I can get the contraption out the window, I'm totally going, because that could be interesting. If I can do that, maybe I'll just do a single Seestar and just focus on the kind of western view. Yeah, that first time was too much moon. Yeah, that was totally the problem I was having. It was so frustrating. It's like I was getting, my family knows I was getting incredibly frustrated, because it was either clouds or moon, and I had very few where I didn't have one or the other to deal with. But like the Black Eye Galaxy, I think I managed to get a little bit of that maybe a few weeks ago, but if I can get out the west, but yeah, there was some cluster in Coma Bernices that looked really kind of amazing. Where was it? Here? Like, there's like a lot of galaxies there. And then right here by Virgo. Yeah, there's just a ton of galaxies. My next project is going to mount on my roof to get above. Oh, you've used the Seestar for the chain. Did you do a mosaic, or just like several photos? Because that's one thing I want to do. But again, the conditions were bad, and it doesn't help that I'm like Bortle 9. So I'm already I'm already having a hard time. And then you combine it with the haze. See, and I have a way, several photos. That's awesome. I do have a way to get things up higher on the house. Oh, you're in Dallas. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking. But yeah, I could, I have a deck I could potentially mount one of the telescopes on. But I haven't yet. I've done it in the past, but actually I think I saw someone who no. I was thinking like how some people have a Starlink satellite, you know? Like they'll have the Starlink satellite dish or just a normal satellite dish kind of attached to the like the edge of the roof, you know? Light of my house blocks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lights are, yeah, unfortunately, it's yeah, that was when I was younger. Um so when I first started astronomy, it was many years ago, and I was, visual astronomy. Like I was starting to say earlier, I was much better with the constellations because it was all naked eye. There was no go-to mounts. And I had, physical star charts and like one of those circular ones, but then also like booklet ones that I could use to kind of figure out where things were if I was trying to find a specific target, specific galaxy or globular cluster. And but it was towards the end of high school. It was very disappointing. They put in streetlights on my parents' street, and they managed to put one in like the perfect position where it's shone between the light shined between the houses into the backyard, and it was just like the area where I usually had my telescope set up, because there were trees, and so I was kind of limited on where I could put the telescope in the backyard, and that area then ended up getting lit up by a street light. It was frustrating. um yeah. Well, and so the light, I don't know if you've tried it, but one thing I haven't done any like, A/B testing, but oh, you can't see it here right now, but I have a little dew shield, like I say, that it's friction mounted, and it goes in the Seestar, kind of mounts on the lens, or in front of the hole where the lens is. And I didn't get it for dew, but I got it for light, to try to limit the light. Now it's with this black plastic that was 3D printed. I'm thinking about trying to flock the inside of the dew shield to try to reduce internal reflections, because the black plastic is pretty matte, but I'm going to try to make it more matte. And like I say, I haven't, it seems to help a little bit, but that might be something worth looking into. Yeah, a dew shield would probably help with that. Yeah, and even in spite of that, I have this problem too. I have terrible gradients too. Like, and they're the weirdest. They're the weirdest gradients too, some of them. Like, they're very strange gradients. Like, I don't understand some of the gradients I have. Like they're just very odd. So this might be kind of okay. So in a way, it's kind of underwhelming. Yeah, GraXpert. Yeah, that's one thing I need to. Yeah, I mean, I've been using GraXpert now. It's when GraXpert added the noise reduction, I started using it more, but I was using it at the end of my workflow. But now recently I've been, and I don't know if this is the best way, but some of the results have been pretty good for some of the targets I've been photographing. I've been doing the GraXpert pass at the beginning. I do gradient removal. I do noise reduction, and I crop it. And what I end up doing is, what it appears to be doing, and it makes sense, is it kind of is getting rid of some of the, I guess for a better term, like high frequency noise, like small kind of noise in the image, which, I mean, it's a loss of data theoretically, but when I go to stretch it, like the results seem better, like, because I try to avoid clipping data, but it basically kind of clipped the data for you by kind of blurring it and removing the noise. And so I'll be able to kind of adjust the black levels farther. And so I get a more contrasty image of some of these fields, like these quasars and stuff. And that's what I've been doing recently. But then sometimes I do a second GraXpert pass after I've processed it. But mostly I haven't. I've been kind of playing around with doing it at the beginning. Yeah, okay. You do the background extraction, noise removal, and GraXpert at the beginning, then I run through noise. Yeah, see, I don't have noise exterminator. I got like the trial of it. I got the trial of all the RC Astro stuff and PixInsight like a number of months ago, but I haven't purchased it yet. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We're up to, so what I wanted to do is switch to the view, and you look at it and it's like, it's like just stars, right? But if I do the mark overlay, there are a lot of NGC objects in this field. There are a lot. And so like each one of these is probably a galaxy. It's kind of crazy. Like I say, it's kind of, there's, well, yeah, you can kind of see these are kind of oblong. But with this kind of target, what I end up doing, I mean, I'm sure others do the same. I mean, I know others do the same, but what I've been doing more is like I'll just try to take half an hour, or 15 minutes, half an hour, or whatever I can get away with before it kind of gets blocked by a building. And I'll do that over, if I'm lucky, over several nights. And then I can get a few hours worth of data. I mean, it's not as much. I know some people get like, especially on bigger telescopes, they'll get like tens of hours of data, but that's all I can make do with. And even then I like, there's probably a diminishing return in my area with all the light pollution. I'm just checking to see when this might be visible. I know it's not on the screen, but I'm just looking. Yeah. Let me switch back to the, I like I like how many galaxies are in that field. That's kind of crazy. Let's go back. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I had before the eclipse, I had kind of started trying to image the Messier catalog, and really, because again of my particularly bad backyard, and plus I combined with I couldn't really stay up all night. I was kind of only getting a few, like basically it would probably take me months to get through all of them, because I'd have to wait for them to kind of rotate into the particular location in the evening sky. But I got quite a few of them. I mean, not even half, but I've gotten a number of them. But that, I was kind of trying to do that, and I want to also try to get. I tried to. Yeah, S3, Comet S3. Let's look that up. Oops. Oh. Let's see where that is. Yeah, again, it's to my west. See, actually, it's pretty high in the sky. No, that isn't what you looked at. That must not have, because it claims this is like 29th magnitude. Like that couldn't be it. Yeah, the kind of the streaking stars with the stars trailing. Yeah. Oh, nice. Thanks. You're in a good spot for clear skies. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for checking them out. Yeah, that's cool. Been working on it since January. Capture the comet under Portal 2. Yeah. Where do you go? Where did you go for the Portal 2 skies? Let me look up. Let me look up S3. Copper Break State Park. I'm curious. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, so kind of midway between Dallas and Amarillo. Yeah, that area is. Yeah, I was just curious where from where you are. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, the problem is from where I am, like I don't think there's some Bortle 4s. But again, because I'm closer to the coast, like some of the Bortle 4s are on the coast, like state parks along the coast, so they're gonna have probably lousy seeing and transparency because of the winds and the humidity. Oh, that's nice. Going up there. Yeah, one thing I've been wanting to do. I mean, because again, things like there isn't like the years ago, the Houston Astronomical Society, they had and I think they still do. They had a dark site out by Columbus, which is about 80 miles from here. But obviously, it's not Bortle 2. Like even years ago, you could see quite a bit of light dome from Houston to the east. But for various reasons, I've taken a number of vacations out to West Texas, but it's a lot more than 3 hours for me. I think if I went past San Antonio, I'd get to some dark skies, but a lot of times I'll end up going way out west. And there you get like, yeah, it gets really nice and dark. Oh, that sucks. Casino. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's annoying. Oh wow, Portal 3. Yeah, that's annoying though when there's like a dark site and then something gets built. Like there's another YouTube astronomy channel that he's out in Clovis, New Mexico, I think. And he goes someplace and I think they've been having issues with, I don't know if it was it was in far western kind of panhandle of Texas, and I forget if he was having issues with the oil fields or something that they had built out there or something with a lot of lights. So like an area used to be good and now it's not as good. So let me see, where are we? Let me see how this image is doing. Wait, what happened? Oh, okay. It's still going. Is it just me or is it taking... It's up to almost 12 minutes. Yeah, part of me wants to... it's like I almost want to push the live streams back a little bit later. Like not so close to twilight, so I have more time to get the telescope properly aligned. Because I won't... Sometimes it'll be like a little out of level or it won't be correctly calibrated. And so I'll start getting a lot of kind of missed frames. And that was the thing that was so spectacular about that one evening where I got that one quasar, that 8 billion light year one. Like the seeing was great, the transparency was great, and I actually had like dialed in like the alignment, and it wasn't like it wasn't dropping any frames. Like it wasn't having any stacking errors. It was amazing. It's rare for me. I think either I don't have it calibrated or it's just because the seeing is so terrible that like some targets just it can't align the star images. I mean, I even have, when I take the raw frames, like the ones that it does accept, and I take them and load them into Serial, when I run through the automated Seestar, the Seestar script, it'll end up like dropping almost every frame, or because it wants at least 10 stars to align on, and it doesn't even have that. Like it'll have 7 stars or 5 stars. So I created a script that just had that only needs 5 stars. Yeah, I just saw a stacking issue. It's frustrating. Oh, so yeah. So Fort Davis, funny you mentioned that. That's the place I've gone to a number of times. Like I first went there when I was a teenager. Because you go see the observatory and the McDonald observatory. It's cool. I think the last time I was out there was was it May of 2021? I think the last time I went there was May of 2021. Yeah, and like I did a star party years ago, but I've been wanting to go out there and take my kids for one because it's a neat, like a public viewing night. That was I remember, I think it was there once years ago when I was there. Maybe it was for a star party that like the sky seemed a little washed out and then Jupiter set and it got darker and I'm like I'm used to the moon kind of making the sky noticeably brighter, but I swear Jupiter made it that night. It was a particularly clear night out there. This was years ago. But I hadn't been there in such a long time. I don't think I had been able to take a tour of the newer telescope they have out there. Was it the Hobby Eberly? Oh, this was open in '96. Maybe they didn't have it open for tours because I remember seeing it, but when we went in 2021, like they had, I think they had just reopened it for tours. But yeah, that's an impressive telescope. It's one of the largest optical telescopes in the world, but it's fixed at a 55-degree angle. But it's kind of interesting. Yeah, look at how big that is. Oops. So this is a person, and this is how big the Hobby Eberly telescope is. This extremely large telescope and the 30-millimeter telescope, those are going to be massive. Or the large Magellan, or the giant Magellan telescope. Wow. I mean, the Keck telescopes are no slouch, but I mean, I remember it was funny because like for the longest time, Palomar was like the biggest telescope. Well, and then that one in Russia, but like where is even do they even have the Palomar telescope on here? Oh yeah, here. This is the Palomar telescope. Like it's like that was the biggest in the world for years. And now it's just like these new ones are so massive. And look at how big Arecibo was. Like this giant, like you can only see a fraction of it. Yeah, unfortunately, I never was able to take a tour of Arecibo, but I have a photo somewhere, I think, or maybe I only saw it. Like I drove up to the entrance to it and saw like the towers that were used to support the kind of the radio receiver. Yeah. I have taken a tour of the 107, I think, many years ago. Yeah, I know. Yeah, for people who don't know, the Arecibo was the giant radio telescope that's in Puerto Rico, or was in Puerto Rico. It helps if I spell it right. Yeah, it's so it was this giant yeah. It's this giant radio telescope it's like in a kind of like in a natural depression, like it was like, what was it, 1,000 feet in diameter or something? Yeah, 1,600 feet in diameter. Oh no, that's the but yeah, it was massive. It was like the largest radio telescope on Earth, and but yeah, it's a shame it got damaged by the hurricane, and then there was like cable failure, and that they were going to decommission it and demolish it. But then one of the towers, one of the support towers that supported this big kind of receiver collapsed, and like, yeah, it was gone. Yeah. Yeah, that's the jungle saw reclaiming. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I was there 2002. Yeah, 2002. But we weren't there very long. We weren't in Puerto Rico we were only there for like a day or two. We ended up going to some rainforest there, I think. But, oh well. But let's see what we're doing here. Let's see. Yeah, I might stop this in a little bit because it seems to be a little slow with some of the data. What else did I have on my notes? Are there any? Actually, that's funny. We were there for 36 hours, and that's actually why we were in Puerto Rico. It was for a cruise. Yeah, same reason. That's funny. Oh wow. Flying missions out of Puerto Rico to South America. Wow. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I really like that. We were only there, yeah, like for 36 hours or 48 hours, but I really did like Puerto Rico. It was very pretty. And it's definitely on my list of places to go back to. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't there nearly long enough, unfortunately. I'm just kind of looking at things that are of interest. What is this? Interacting galaxy. Oh, darn it. It's to the west. Darn it. Darn you. But yeah, that's another thing I want to get. Actually, let me see what this looks like. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. One thing I want to get an image of, but again, it's to the west. Is this one? No. No, that's this. Yeah, actually, this is the one. This is the one I want to get a photo of. Caldwell 60. Yeah, I almost always use 10-second exposures. I have never used 20 or 30. I think it could be a problem. I don't know. What's your experience been? I was under the impression that depending on where you're pointing in the sky, the field rotation might be too much. But there was one target. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I want to try it tomorrow maybe before the skies get back to before the transparency gets worse. But what was it? Yeah, it was this one. Another quasar. But I had noticed that this one, again, I can't photograph it right now, but if you look at like, you notice like there's almost no field rotation after a certain time. But like, wait. Yeah. Yeah, like let me zoom in here. So if I started imaging it right around, you know, when it's going past the meridian, it's like massively rotating, like every minute you see how much it is. But then after a certain time, it's basically just almost going straight down to set. And so it was this target that I was thinking of trying to get using 30-second exposures, because you could see like after 10:30, like there's no field rotation, or like negligible field rotation. So I think if I can get it well aligned, I think that would be a good experiment. Because this is a fainter target, I think, that I was wanting to get. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. At least I want to be able to experiment with it. Yeah. I want to experiment with it and see how well it works here. Because this will be high enough in the sky, so it won't have some of the haze, and because it's relatively, the conditions are relatively good right now, from a seeing and transparency point of view. I want to try to get some exposures in, or test it out. But again, it hinges on me being able to shoot towards the west, so I need to kind of figure something out. This is not, I don't think this has been making good progress. It feels like it should have gone past 15 minutes. Yeah. I think it's stuck. I'm going to stop this one. Yeah, stack failed. So what now? Any suggestions? Any requests? I was going to go look. Just go back to the let's see. Again, from my backyard, I can't see things past the meridian for the most part. So, actually, where's the crescent? Let me turn off that. Oh, it's only 28. It's only 28 degrees altitude, but which direction is it? It's to the northeast. Let me try it. Let me see if I can. Actually, what's the other one I wanted to look at? Eagle. I hate that when I do that. And that is, oh, I removed the ground. That's to the southeast. So let me see the crescent. Let me see if that'll work. Didn't mean to do that. Actually, let me see if this perspective works. Some of these that camera in the backyard is a new thing. Let's see. Will this work? Nope. Okay. It's not perfect. Actually, what I need is having the phone on the screen. So let's look up Crescent. And we'll see if that works. I mean, it's a pretty cool target. So I am going to switch to my this view. So let's see if we can watch it change direction. I know it's a rather unusual perspective, but it's is it updating? I mean, there's usually a bit of a lag. Oh, there we go. Yeah, because the exposures are a few seconds. It's while it's moving, it ends up kind of blurry. But you might actually be able to see the dew shield better. Yeah, now you can see the dew shield. There we go. Now the question is, oh. So if it kind of gets in a loop where it's trying to identify a target when the conditions are relatively good like they are now here, I know it's probably because there's a building in the way, but it identified the target pretty quickly. So let's try this. Let us try this. It alleges it's there. So let's try this. And it turned on the filter, so we'll try it. Oops. I just got a 3D printer, and my first print is, sadly, I have a 3D printer, but it's still kind of in the box. Well, no, it's not in the box. It's been unpacked. Sorry. It's been a long day. It's been unpacked. It's just, it hasn't been fully assembled. It was a Crealty. So I need to, actually, I think my oldest daughter is, she wants to print some stuff. So I told her she can go ahead and, finish assembling it and do it. But yeah, there are a lot of interesting things on Thingiverse. I haven't looked recently. Let's look at what's happening. It's having the tracking problem. Like where you point at a target and see what's happening to the stars, how they're like moving. It's like it's not It's like it's moving too much. And I'm not sure what causes that. Sometimes I can fix it by repointing it somewhere else and then pointing it back. But it's very strange. I'm just kind of looking at the live view to see if it's still drifting. It looks like it's slowly drifting to the right. Is it, or did it stop? Let me try again. Like I don't get that. I don't get why it does that. Let me stop this and so sometimes what I'll do, believe it or not, is I'll just go in here into the Sky Atlas and I'll just go to, and then I kind of, it gets it like out of wherever it's pointing at that moment. And then it ends up working. It's very strange. Okay. Let's try this again. I don't know. Do other people have these problems? I think I've seen people talking about it in forums, but I don't go on the forums often enough. I should go more often. Nope, it got it. It did not. See, isn't that weird? It was like drifting, and so I move it a little bit. It kind of plate solves, and then now it's working. And so the crescent is somewhere in here. So we'll let this go. So there's a neat attach. Yeah, it's a common issue. Yeah, and it's so weird. Like I said, I'll move it in the Sky Atlas just like a tiny amount, and it seems to kind of get it out of that mode. Like I don't understand. And I had seen something in a forum where they said like ZWO knew about it, but they were having a hard time reproducing it or something. I don't know. So there's a neat attachment that flips out of the way if your Seestar tries to close. So let's look at Thingiverse. I don't know if it's Thingiverse you look at, but yeah, here we go. So see, there's dew shield, twist lock filter holder, lens cap. I've ended up buying some of these things. I don't have them up here, but I ended up buying off like Agena Astro and Etsy. Actually, the one I got off Etsy was like if you don't have a 3D printer, actually this was, oh wow, this was something else I had run across. I didn't buy this one, but it's interesting to add a little sight to your or a Telrad. That's interesting. Clip-on viewfinder. Yeah. But yeah, the thing I got was, so I've bought some of these individually. Like I bought a Batenoff mask and a lens cover. But then I ended up buying a like an accessory kit off Etsy because it wasn't that much more expensive. I mean, like shipping is the expensive thing. It was something like this. I don't know that this was the seller, but it came with like a cover and batten off mask and dew shield. But if you have a 3D printer, you can print them yourself. Star alignment target. I mean, I can see that, especially the issues I have where I'm trying to align. I'm trying to get the telescope set up while it's still twilight, and there aren't that many stars visible at that point, and so it struggles to plate solve, so it knows if it's pointing the wrong direction. And there's been a few times where, like, if the moon's up, I'll kind of like sight along the telescope and manually move it to where the moon's in frame, and then say, okay, the moon is centered, and then it knows where it's pointing. And then from then on, it seems kind of okay. But like this kind of, well, this is for solar aligning, but like that's finder scope. I could see that being handy for when I'm using it in conditions that it's probably not really made to be used, where it's like I'm trying to align it while the sky's a little too bright. I saw somebody who did like a wrapping to actually before the eclipse to try to like reduce the amount of heating of the telescope. Laser guide mount. Oh, laser guide. So like you put like one of those great green laser pointers, green laser pointers, and then you can tell where it's pointing, which actually could also be handy if you're doing like not even just for actually I should do that. I do have a green laser printer, a laser pointer. I should do that because you could use that to like if you're doing if you're showing the images to someone, like to other people, and you want them to really see where the telescope is pointed in the sky, you could attach a laser pointer to it, and then they can see like the image on the phone, but then they can also see where it's pointing in the sky if they want to try to look at it with binoculars or something. I could see that being kind of cool. Solar filter, I guess if you want to put a third-party filter. Let's see what else they have. Dew shield. Oh, look at that. Maybe this is what you need to mount it to your house. See, look at that. It gets it above the roof line. Metal pole using magnets, PVC. Actually, I also have some PVC sitting around. Smaller PVC, no, not 4-inch, but maybe I should get some 4-inch magnets to use. That's cool. They have some interesting stuff. Oh, you did wrap your telescope before the eclipse. Yeah, I actually, I'm under. I live in Houston, and I'm on the flight path for hobby. Like I've gotten video of planes, Southwest planes, which I'm sure you'll appreciate, flying, probably from Dallas into hobby and going right over the sun. And so I've captured more than one video with my Seestar of that. But yeah. So maybe the green laser pointer is not the best idea, at least where we live. You in Dallas, me in Houston, same problem. So let's see what this is. Oh. I mean, it's not like, let me let me temper expectations, but you can start seeing the crescent. And I've a few weeks ago, I think it was on one of those few like really good seeing days, I did get some data from this of the crescent. So I'm definitely wanting to get a lot more, because I think I got maybe half an hour before. So I might just let this one go for until as long as I can, because it is pretty low in the sky for me. Now it's more to the northeast. It's more to the northeast, and before the meridian, I end up having an obstruction. So I'm not sure. I mean, it's still well away from it, so I could probably let this go past the end of the live stream. Oh, yeah. We have another airport. There's another airport south of Houston, Ellington Field, but I don't. The planes usually don't fly over here, and I don't know how much that's used these days. There's some other local regional airport, like private, general aviation airports around the city, but Hobby's the main one that we're like I always would explain it to people. We're not right next to the airport, but we're close enough that when the planes are flying over the house, like literally you'll see the landing gear come down sometimes. Like not always, but often. Like I'll watch it and I'll see like the gear coming down. I'm like, yeah, they're pretty close. Eagle and Trifid. Let me see if I can, because I'm trying to get more data for targets I've already imaged, but I'm also trying to get more targets, because sometimes I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, if I need 3 hours of data to get the crescent the way I want it to be, but the weather ends up not cooperating, I'd rather get 3 different, or half an hour data from 6 targets, and then just revisit them some other time. Let me see. So this is, what I end up having to do is figure out see, that's kind of low for me. This is low in the sky, unfortunately. It really stinks. Or, yeah. So by 2:30 in the morning, it'll be high enough in the sky that I'd be able to image it, which I'm not going to do tonight, but at least that gives me hope that in a few weeks it'll be at that point earlier in the night and I'll be able to image it. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be higher in July, August. Yeah. Yeah, which is actually what happened with me with the Crescent. Like I captured it a few weeks ago, but and it was that's why I said it was this particularly good night, and I just couldn't, like, I think it was over a weekend and I stayed up till like 4 a.m. because I just, like, everything was, it was some of the best seeing I'd seen here, like in months. So it was, yeah, that was the same thing with me. But yeah, something to revisit like in the summer. What else? So Eagle. Yeah, the Eagle also. The Eagle I might... How high is that? Actually, I need to change the time back to now. 30 degrees. That's still low. Yeah. It's probably like 1 in the morning target for me. Oh well. Not tonight. But the Crescent, it's up to 8 minutes of data. So it's not terrible. Not terrible. I don't remember how much I got the last time. Yeah. Let me take a drink. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, hopefully whatever I end up doing tomorrow evening, hopefully the chat overlay is sorted out. Star Trail, and it got discarded. See, this is where this is where having that camera comes in handy, because I can see. I have it up on a monitor over here. Which is why I'm leaning to the side. See, I can see if it's if there's clouds in the way. It's funny. I mean, you would expect it, but since the Seestar is plugged in, not only is the battery discharging, but it's also being kind of kept charged, and all the electronics. It's funny how much warmer it is on the thermal. I mean, one would expect that, I guess, but so let me see. Yeah, so I need to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow night. Like if I'm gonna do 2 streams, or maybe I just do one live observing stream. Yeah, maybe. I'll have to think about that. Also, I think it's going to depend on if I can figure out a way to mount the Seestar in the window, or out the window a bit. I'll have to mess around with that tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, as far as these live observing streams, yeah, I'm kind of debating whether or not I do more of them if the conditions warrant, or if I do them unlisted or whatever, or do them member only, and so you can encourage, so people can have another reason to join. I might do that. Maybe I'll do that over the weekend as an experiment. And the thing is, like, if the way the membership works, even if you don't watch it, I mean, the videos are still around on YouTube. So like if there's member only videos and then you join later, you can go back. And I mean, unless the person unlists them, but I wouldn't do it. I'd keep them available. And it's not like, it's more about like trying to avoid cluttering the YouTube channel. I mean, I try to have a mixture of live and kind of produced videos, and I don't want to necessarily just have live streams. The other thought I had was live streaming to another platform on those other nights, like Twitch, but I don't think I want to do that, because like if people are watching on YouTube, I'll just keep it on YouTube. But maybe, like I say, do it member only on subsequent ones. So if people want to watch it or whatever, or maybe, you know, those might be kind of a little rougher as far as, like, at the beginning of the stream, I got up a few times, but maybe ones where I'm like having to tinker with things more in the backyard, like going down to fix the alignment and stuff, instead of sitting here, which, don't get me wrong, it's still like almost 90 degrees outside, heat index and mosquitoes, so I'd much rather be here. But if I have to kind of do things, maybe I'll do that. Yeah, maybe I'll do that on Saturday, because I think the weather is still going to be good here. So I might do like an unlisted live stream on Saturday. Yeah. At this hour, I'm just it's just getting kind of stream of consciousness. Let me see. And if you're watching this after the fact, yeah, I'm probably going to do another one Friday evening. Might do an unlisted one on Saturday. The only bummer about Saturday is, well, it's not a bummer, but like this, the moon will be a little bit more starting to interfere with the beginning of the night, but not much. So we'll see. But another thing I've thought about, well, I'm kind of, let me switch back to the, see what. Yeah, I feel like it's not, I feel like it's a little off, but it is still kind of, it's up to 11 minutes. One thing I've kind of debated is having kind of some very quiet, very quiet kind of background music during the stream. I've thought about it. I mean, partly something I can listen to, and but I would have to, it would have to be something like, it would be something very, what do you call it? Very appropriate for the kind of stream it would be, and the hour of the stream, it would be like kind of ambient music. A stream you could play while you're trying to fall asleep. Maybe that have an ASMR live stream. It is getting late. Yeah, I'm probably, usually when I've done these, I'll start around 9 and I'll run a little bit past midnight, and it's midnight right now. Oh, nice. Oh, so phone. So 36 minutes of imaging, it captured 27 successfully. See, I haven't been keeping track of how long this NGC 2888 or the Crescent is. but I know I've switched off screen. I mean, what I don't think is helping me is the thing isn't level. Yeah, it won't tell me. It won't tell me while it's image processing how out of level it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't. Did you go into the photo album, or did you look after you stopped? Because I'm wondering, can you actually look at it while it's? Oh, I can actually look at it while it's imaging. Now the dates are all wonky. Okay. Yeah, I don't get that. It starts level and then gets out of level while imaging. I don't understand how that's possible. Unless there's just some play in the mount. Like, I don't get that. Because the same thing happens with me. Now, do you use it on the stock tripod, or do you use any kind of like tripod leveling heads? Because this one is on it's on a tripod leveling head, and it's on a non Seestar. It's on like a Skywatcher tripod. Skywatcher? Yeah, Skywatcher tripod. I think the Crescent's probably going to be my last target tonight. I'm just going to keep it going for a bit. And so at 12:04, it has 13 minutes of data. So, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I have the same thing. But yeah, I don't get why it claims to be level, and then I'll go to a different target and it'll say suddenly it's not level. Like, I thought maybe it was things weren't tightened, and I went and tightened and it didn't seem to be. So I don't know. I may try it again. Maybe tomorrow night. If I do a westerly shot, I might try doing it without the leveler and see if that is causing issues. I think it was one of my last live streams or live observing streams. Someone ended up joining from the UK just as I was about to shut down the stream. It was funny. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That it must be something about the mechanism. Cause yeah, that's the other thing. I have bubble levels on those on the tripod leveling head, and I swear there's been times where it looked level on the leveling head, like the bubble levels looked well centered, but the telescope disagreed. And the fact that they put it on a pier Like those things would not suddenly become not level. Yeah. I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's like not consistent, but it's frustrating. That said, the one thing I keep going back to is, as frustrated as I was with the weather over the last month or two here, I did manage to get, in one night. Well, there was that one night where I got the Crescent Nebula and some other things, but I've been able to get like M13 and some of these other targets, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. And I don't think if I was using like one of my other scopes that I would even bother. Like if I knew clouds were rolling in. I mean, this used to be this would always happen to me, if I wouldn't even bother, like if I knew clouds were going to roll in a couple hours or an hour, I wouldn't even bother taking the scope out. But with the Seestar, unless you get into a calibration loop, like you throw it down, turn it on, throw it down, open up your app, and you're imaging sometimes just in a couple of minutes, 3 minutes. And so, yeah, I've been able to accumulate stuff. I've been able to take photos of targets and do other things that I wouldn't have necessarily done. Like even with the solar stuff I've been doing recently with like a dedicated solar telescope, it's definitely more unwieldy. Like the mount weighs much more than the Seestar itself, and then the telescope, and then I've got a camera, and it's tethered to my computer with a long USB cable, and and the computer's inside because I don't have a shaded area outside, so it's like going through a patio door. And the Seestar I just put out in the backyard, and I mean, it's just visible light, but it's so much easier, so much less of a hassle. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sunk 3 feet into the ground. Yeah, it's a $500 device, exactly, and it's not just a telescope. It's a telescope and a camera and a computer and the mount and a tripod for $500. So yeah, Polaris is obscured. Yeah, yeah. It does make me appreciate that if budget were no option, kind of for I don't want to call it a dream telescope, but for something that I would take out, like not have permanently mounted, I'm strongly thinking about getting something with an alt azimuth mount. Like in the future, like one of the big ones, because you can get like field rotators. So you get the alt azimuth mount and you have it combined with like a field rotator, or like I saw one where it rotates the whole tube, I think. Anyway, you get a field rotator, alt azimuth, high end, and it's just like you don't have to deal with a polar alignment, and it just, I guess also like based on my experience after the eclipse and kind of really bringing along more gear, like I brought along a Skywatcher GTI mount, and I really didn't spend much time aligning it. I kind of eyeballed it, I knew what latitude I was at. I dialed that in. I kind of eyeballed it with the compass app, and it was and I know there's apps that do polar alignment and I had one on my phone, but I didn't end up using it. And it was good enough, but like the sun was drifting like during the eclipse. And I guess it started making, I started thinking about how like I set up the Skywatcher, I mean not the Skywatcher, the Seestar, and it just locked onto the sun and it just tracked it the whole time and I didn't have to deal with it. And just that kind of experience made me think that kind of my ideal scope might have an alt azimuth mount in the future with a field rotator. So then you can take longer exposures without and not have to do like polar alignment. It's a thought. And actually, come to think of it, now that you mention it, I don't know if I can actually see Polaris from my house either. I don't think I can. Because I can see northeast and northeast, but I think north is obscured from my backyard. Yeah. Yeah, the Seestar just worked. Yeah, it's funny. I saw, I don't, it was like on High Point Scientific or a Gina Astro or one of those astronomy online stores. They had some high end alt azimuth mount, and I think I had seen it, and then I was like, but then when I started thinking about it more, and I was like, that actually would be nice. What else? Plus, you don't deal with meridian flip issues with an alt azimuth. So that was another thing. What was I going to look up? Oh, I was looking at this. This is cool. The pole mount. I need to look at that. What other things do they have? Ground mount. Oh, that's cool. Something so you can equatorial mount it. Yeah, there's so much. Well, so much, but there's quite a few things. Oh, look at that. A little kind of external holder for a battery. Yeah, GoPro adapter. Oh, that's interesting. Tabletop base with leveling. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice. And it would be theoretically not a huge change, I would think. And I wouldn't think it would be, I mean, because like the sensor is so small. That would be cool. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do, what they come up with. I mean, like there was one video from that Northeastern conference where they basically the guy admitted / confirmed that later this year they'd have that there would be maybe additions to the product line. And the fact they created a separate brand for it wouldn't be unexpected. Interesting. Camera rotator for traditional Astro offerings. Well, yeah, and like they have, like ZWO has that, like they have the the one I find interesting and maybe kind of, which one was it? So like there was the MC Duo. So they had the 2600 MC, and then they have the MC Duo, which has the guiding sensor built in. And then was it the Pro that they announced that? Is that the one? No, not the Pro. It wasn't the Pro. It was what was it? Is it Air? Yeah, the Air. 2600 MC Air, which has basically like an ASI Air built into it. So it's kind of like, it's like a smart telescope. It's like part of a smart telescope, but you bring your own scope and mount. But it includes the camera, the guiding chip, and the brains. So it could do, like, basically you just need a mount that you can use, that has guiding support. And then, yeah, like, yeah, the Air. Okay. Yeah, that's, so like that is kind of, yeah. And so like if you add a rotator, then you could have something like, yeah, you could have it on an alt azimuth mount. That would be cool. It's, mechanically simpler and cheaper. And those strain wave mounts can operate in alt azimuth mode. So like the AM3 and 5 can work in alt azimuth mode, which was another reason I was thinking about getting those and just like running them in alt azimuth mode instead of trying to align them. So let's see. No, we're up to, so in the last 14 minutes, it's added 7 minutes of data. So we're batting 500 here. Yeah, I might go a few more minutes and then I think I might wrap it up. I might wrap it up for the evening. Which one's the AM3 or 5 or the 2600 MC? I think I think I'd like to have, yeah, both of those are kind of on my aspirational list. At some point I need to upgrade my, or I want to upgrade my, the camera I'm using on my, oh yeah, both. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I'd get the 2600 MC Air. I mean, it's intriguing. I definitely think I would get the 2600 MC Duo. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely would consider the Duo. Mostly because, although I'm happy with the Seestar, and I've seen people who really love their ASI Airs, so I feel like it would be the same idea. Part of me wants to do more of the Windows route with Nina, Yeah. Yeah. See, I think I'm leaning towards having like a mini PC. Um, and part of it is, I mean, part of it is because of some of the things I want to do. Like for most of my night stuff, I'd be fine with the 2600 amps. I mean, with the ASI Air. Um, yeah, I think, although I'm kind of intrigued by the Skywatcher strainwave mounts, because those strainwave. If you want to buy one, I have an affiliate link in the I don't know if I have it in the description, but I will later. You can click on it, and it will help. It will help the channel at no cost to you. That was my hard sell. No, this one is the one I'm kind of intrigued by, the 100, because it comes with a second saddle, so you can run it with 2 telescopes. Yeah, see, look at that. Double dovetails. Yeah, double dovetail saddle. So you can run it with 2 different two telescopes, which I like that idea. I mean, I have the solar telescope, and I have another refractor, and I have a what do you call it? A Bader white light filter for it. And so I could see myself with a mount like that, where I could be imaging white light and hydrogen alpha at the same time. And I have the telescopes. I just need another camera or upgrade more. Like I need to upgrade one of the camera. I mean, I have more than one camera. I need an upgraded camera. And then some mount like this, that would be awesome. Because that really kind of intrigued me, because I like solar imaging. I like the H alpha, but I also like the white light, especially with that Bader filter. Like I've been very happy with the result from that. Yeah. Yeah, you're not locked into ASI, and they have a higher load. Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by that. Definitely intrigued by this one. And it can hold up to 22 pounds without the counterweight. And I want to say if you're doing double scopes, it's more than the 22 pounds, because like the scopes are almost like counterweights for each other. And it works in alt azimuth or equatorial mode. So yeah, that one I'm kind of, although the thing that's kind of disappointing to me, like I really like this one. I think it's really cool. Actually, I know why they did this. So it's got like these connectors up here, right? But I think it's cool that the other one has the 150, how it has the kind of the cable output right here. I mean, the power is on the saddle. I mean, that's cool from a cable management point of view. But I think I'd still get this the cheaper one, not because it's cheaper. Well, it's nice that it's cheaper, but I like the fact that I can do dual telescopes, and for the specific real use case I would use it for, of being able to do white light and H alpha imaging of the sun at the same time. I think it would be great. It would be actually really, like, I was more excited about that one than the bigger one, the more expensive one. Yeah, because I'd looked at kind of rigging up my own, like basically getting a plate and putting it on the scope and then attaching the two telescopes to the having saddles on the plate, two saddles. But the fact that that telescope does it, or has it built in, it's really nice. Let me look. So in 23 minutes, yeah, it's still, it's about getting about half the frames. But, it's getting close to half an hour of data. And so I think, honestly, I think I already had half an hour of data, so that gives me up to an hour. So that's not bad. And if I can if I might image it again tomorrow night and Saturday night, ideally. And really, one thing I was thinking of doing is if I need to figure out how to get both Seestars going at the same time, because even if I don't have one of them on stream, I'd like to be getting more data on some of these targets, like the Crescent Nebula. So I might do that. I have till tomorrow to figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the advantage of going with the or actually, so what is I put it in like a spreadsheet at some point. But so this is 9.5 pounds, and I can hold 22 pounds. Whereas like the AM3 is 8.6 pounds, so it's almost a pound lighter, and but it has 7 pounds less. Is that right? 7 pounds less capacity, or was it 22? Oh, it's 22. So it's 4.5 pounds less capacity. Yeah, it's not a huge. I mean, but if it works for you, then that's then that would be fine. I mean, but it's only a pound savings. But yeah, yeah, yeah. There was one by what's his name, Kai. Yeah, Kai was Seestar, and he has like a GitHub. Was it like, yeah, the first one came out before the eclipse, so I was kind of distracted, but I've been wanting to try it out because I am intrigued by that, especially being able to control two different telescopes through yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't used it, but I watched part of a presentation he did in like a couple of his other videos. Um, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it by tomorrow, but maybe, yeah, I don't think I'll have time. But it's definitely. Oh, so you have used it. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. How much time did it take you to set it up? Maybe I will try it for tomorrow. I'm going to get up one more time. I need to. My monitor that I use to monitor. The monitor I use to watch to monitor the live stream and the telescope are auto powered off for some reason. I guess I'd had it on for a few hours, hour or two. Yeah, maybe I'll try to set that up before the live stream tomorrow. Have my little rocket ship here. It's a little T. It's a very random thing. It's a little kind of tea. You put tea leaves in it in the shape of a rocket. I don't know why I picked that up. It's late, but yeah, I should try setting that up because that would be really handy, especially given the issues I've been having recently with trying to get both of them working. I had kind of, rigged it a little bit, but now does it give you the ability to view? Like how do you monitor it? It's been a while since I've looked at the video, so that may be an obvious answer. I just hit 30 minutes on the Crescent. Okay. Okay. So I would still have the issue I have. I would still have the issue I have where I have difficulty sometimes, but it might be okay if I just view one of them and then the other one. Yeah. If I'm viewing one and then the other one is being controlled automatically, that might work. I'll play around with that. Maybe I'll be able to do it on the live stream. I mean, not test it, not set it up, but actually use it on the live stream. I've been meaning to, so that's helpful. That'll prod me into actually doing it. Yeah, I did start this stream a little later than my previous live streams, so I've gone a little longer than I normally, just a little bit, but I'm probably going to wrap it up soon. So I might. Yeah, that's true. If it's, from what I recall, some of the stuff, I don't remember if it was Python, but yeah, some of that command line oriented stuff can be more straightforward on a Mac. Um, yeah, well, that's cool. I'm late to the party. I need to I need to test that out. Yeah, this is inspiring me. I probably should do it, if not tomorrow, over the weekend, since I have some clear nights, and really it would help me maximize uh the take maximum advantage of the clear weather by running both of the Seestars at the same time and capturing as much as I can. Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. If not tomorrow, I'll do it over the weekend. Yeah, yeah, same here. It's been very frustrating. But supposedly tomorrow, although it's saying some clouds, although it looks like high ones. But this has been wrong. This has been off recently. There have been times where it said it was going to be clear and it was not clear. We had like some low clouds, but you couldn't see anything. It's Saturday. Yeah, Sunday. This could improve. Yeah, maybe in the upcoming week we'll also have some time. But like this, where it's fine during the day and then like at night it's lousy. Like that's just been rough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had seen that you could kind of uh yeah, plan the evening, um which yeah, maybe for tomorrow I'll try to get that set up. So I'm up to 33 and a half minutes. And I think, yeah, the mosaic, see, that would be cool for like, yeah, yeah, for like Markarian's chain and some of those other uh, clusters and some things in the Milky Way and Cygnus. Uh, nice. I took, I manually took a bunch of photos of the Rosette Nebula um, back in the over the winter, and I've been meaning to kind of process them into a mosaic, but I haven't yet. I mean, I took quite a few frames of it. Probably only like half an hour of integration time per panel, but I took like 6 panels, I think. Up to 34 minutes. Yeah, well, I hate to stop it when it's still making some progress, but let me drink some more water. Yeah. yeah, I mean, oops. The good thing about about the way it's been done with the ASCOM driver is it really opens up a lot, a lot of other tools to be able to do things with it. I know some people had, like early on, they had rooted their Seestars, but the way they, or they, jailbreak broke their Seestars. But I think some of those are not not like they closed the bug that that people were using to jailbreak it. Yeah, I think I'm getting close to stopping it for the night. Maybe I'll let it go up to 40 minutes and then I'll stop it. I mean, it's up to 35. Yeah, there's not currently a way to jailbreak it. Yeah, I saw some discussion on Cloudy Night, I think it was, about it. Yeah. But then again, if, I mean, I could see the advantages of being able to add stuff on the telescope itself, but for me personally, being able to control it externally through something like an ASCOM driver, I think that would be that's plenty for me personally. I'm just looking at it. It's at 36.5 minutes, 36:40. I know I don't need to let it go to round numbers, but sometimes I like getting it to. Oh, that's interesting. You could edit the configuration to allow an ASI air to control it. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah. Maybe they'll offer it. I mean, it would make sense for them to offer that because they wouldn't lose anything from a business point of view. If anything, they would gain something. Like it would encourage, like, if people wanted to, yeah, or if people had an ASI air, it seems like something that they wouldn't, that they would not discourage. That's interesting. Yeah, I'd seen some stuff where they were. Oh, I'm not on the computer view. Yeah, I saw some stuff where people were talking about. Oh, see, it's funny. Like sometimes this chat gets behind. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just a single parameter change. It is funny. It just shows how much. Yeah, that they've no doubt leveraged to build it. But no, it's a cool it's a nice telescope. I mean, it's a nice value, and it's a very it's definitely probably the most fun I've had, or the most satisfaction I've had with astrophotography in a number of years. Um, you know, just because of the ease Like, I think that's like, that's just, yeah, it's huge for me because I don't always have time, or like, yeah, I might have an hour or two, and not just because of the weather, but because of, other things, life. And yeah, best $500. Um, yeah, I could see a lot of it's gone underground a bit because they don't want CW to know. Yeah, I mean I've seen that with other things where, you know enthusiasts have kind of pushed a product beyond um what the company originally intended it to do. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes the companies react well to it, and other times not so much. But yeah, it's yeah, I've been very, very pleased with mine. Oh, we're almost up to 40 minutes here. I think I'm probably going to be wrapping this up then, after. Yeah, so this, I think if I get a few more nights like this and I'm able to combine it. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for joining the live stream. Wait, let me switch back to the computer. Yeah, thanks for joining the live stream. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here too shortly. Um but yeah, it's been I'm going to do this again tomorrow evening, probably. Again, that time's to be determined, but once I figure it out, I'll probably schedule it. And yeah, like and subscribe if you're watching this after the fact, um, and all that jazz. But I think I am going to look. We are at 40 minutes, and I am going to stop it right now. And that is that. So yeah, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Good. Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate the thanks for joining. And I think I need to go get the telescope in, and get ready to do it again tomorrow. Um, so let us. What do I need to do here? I think. So yeah. Yeah, thanks for joining. And if you're watching this after the fact, like and subscribe, and tune in for our next exciting live stream tomorrow, Friday, June 7th. Actually, today now, technically, at least where I am. Have a good evening. Thanks for watching.